and home countries. Let us therefore continue to oil the passion for Africa and ignite homesickness through the power of African heritage in our tradition, culture, folklore, storytelling, songs, beat, and rhythm. Let us facilitate human capital development through teaching, research, infrastructural support, scholarships, and academic exchanges. And let us promote the great opportunities that exist on the continent to facilitate investment from abroad that will spur economic growth and job creation in Africa's emerging markets through the African Continental Free Trade Area. On this note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all once again to the second African Academic Diaspora Summit and wish you a successful deliberation in the next 3 days. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Professor Ehili. It's been my pleasure to work with you.
Sure.
Okay, our next speaker will be the chair of this conference, Professor Saeed Osman Bakri, who is the president of the Association of African Universities. Professor Bakri. Professor Bakri, if you would unmute yourself.
Yes, I think I successfully unmuted myself now. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. It gives me great pleasure here to speak. And I would like first to appreciate Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, Professor Etienne Ehili, and I thank him for this very good speech, which takes off me some of the burden of introducing a few things about the AAU. The governing board of the AAU, the African Diaspora and Development Institute, the Pan-African Heritage World, the African Union, the government of Ghana, distinguished academics, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished participants, all protocols observed. The issue of the diaspora has been around, and the contribution of the diaspora has been around for a long time. And I had personal experience from both ends. Initially, at the time when I was working in the United Kingdom, and more recently after I returned to my home country, to Sudan. And it taught me a few lessons. And one of them is that the practicalities of really getting meaningful engagement, sustained engagement, is usually more difficult than when people thought first. And I think that was the experience of the African Union after it established the sixth region and incorporated that in the constitution. The contribution of the diaspora is well known and has been going on for some time in the political, economic, and cultural, and the remittances, the amount of money which people in the diaspora send to their families, has always attracted interest, as if that money is channeled into investment in Africa, is going to impact the lives of people there. However, having said that, we know there are limitations to this, and in my home country, I know very well that other people in the diaspora have negative experiences about this. In the website of the African Union, it states they envisage envisioned role of the African diaspora at the focal point and hub for implementing the African Union decision to and encourage the African diaspora to participate in the building and development of the African continent. And that is based on the fact that they, as I just mentioned, the contribution of the diaspora has been well recognized. And for us in the AAU, we're probably a bit late in joining, but having said that, I think it is acknowledged that even for the AAU, this initiative has remained as on paper or hasn't been very active for a number of years as well. And I think our role is still waiting for us. And as emphasized in this very well-written concept note, the role of African academia, including the African diaspora, as key players and instrument to facilitate achieving the African Union vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful continent is the role which should be emphasized by the AAU, especially that our current strategy, 2021 to 2025, actually incorporates the main vision of the African Union, the Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and the other initiatives like the CESA 2016-2025 and the other relevant initiatives. I know there has been some criticism for lumping the whole of the diaspora as one region, where actually the diaspora is spread all over the world, in America, and Latin America, North America, South America, and in Europe, in Asia. And then some other issues about ignoring the Africans who were taken out of their, against their will. And the dominance of the African Western diaspora, again, is the absence of the Eastern African diaspora and all that. However, having said that, I think if we can make this experiment work for North America and achieve some meaningful engagement, that would open the door definitely to expand this to the rest of the world. Because as I mentioned before, to take this involvement beyond symbolic involvement is not easy. And this is why we should always pay attention to the issue of implementation as well, and making sure that these meetings, I mean, it will be a bit cruel to say that they could be talking shop. I'm sure there are more than that. There will be usually a generation of a lot of ideas and guidelines. But again, how to incorporate that into a program of action with monitoring and evaluation mechanisms and see the actual effect of these ideas and schemes. And as I say, take the contribution of the diaspora beyond symbolic contribution into making them true stakeholders. I would like to take this opportunity again to thank everybody here for taking time out to participate in what is promising to be a very, very interesting meeting. Just looking at the program, which was carefully actually worded as you read in the concept note, and the theme and sub-themes which have been carefully selected, and the lineup of very distinguished speakers. I thank you all for your participation, and I wish you a very successful meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bakri, for bringing that lovely message. Our next speaker this morning will be Pan-African Heritage World founder, the Honorable Kojo Yankah. Professor Yankah, are you with us? And just briefly, as he joins us, we will not be taking questions during this session. We will take questions during the concurrent sessions, and then again on our final day. Tech support, can you tell me if Dr. Yanka is on?
Yeah, so Dr. Yanka is not available, but we have the Minister for Education available if we can schedule him.
Okay. So I believe I heard that as the Minister of Education is here to bring us greetings. Minister, if you would please unmute.
Okay, hello.
Hello, good morning. We can hear you.
Good morning. Unfortunately, Minister for Education is having a meeting with the Vice President, so he will join you soon. Okay, very well, madam. Bacha Makacho.
Good morning. I apologize. I did not realize that I was muted. So we have several speakers who are coming to greet us, but I am not sure if they are here. So we are expecting Dr. Arikana Chiambori Kwao. I don't know if she is on as yet. We are also expecting a special message from the President of the Republic of Ghana. And it appears that none of our special guests are on as yet. So since none of our special guests are on, and we have some time as we wait for them, I would love to, okay, so one of our special guests has joined. I see Her Excellency, Professor Sarah Anyang Agbor, my sister. Okay, so she has saved the day for me. Okay, so I'd like to introduce you all to the African Union Commissioner for Human Resources, Science and Technology, Professor Sarah Anyang Agbor, and Professor Agbor, please join us if you would unmute.
Okay, thank you very much, my sister Anturine. I've been online since. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished Honorable, my brother, Professor Bakri Osman Said, congratulations. Welcome as the chair of the AAU, the president of the Association of African Universities, and of course, the indefatigable Professor Etienne Ehile, the outgoing AAU secretary, distinguished delegates, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a great pleasure for me to join you today on this auspicious occasion of the second African Academic Diaspora Homecoming. On my own behalf and on behalf of the Chair of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Dr. Musa Faki Mahamat, I express profound appreciation to the Association of African Universities for organizing this conference with the theme, Managing African Academic Diaspora Relations in a Fast Evolving World, which seeks to really advance the opportunities that exist as we strengthen collaborations and partnerships among research and institutions of higher learning in Africa and the African diaspora to further advance the quality of education and general well-being of all persons of African descent. Sincere gratitude to Professor Bakri Osman Said and Professor Etienne Ehile for their speeches that gives us the insight on the importance of the African diaspora. The Citizens and Diaspora Directorate of the African Union Commission serves as a focal point and hub for implementing the African Union decision to invite and encourage the African diaspora to participate in the building and development of the African continent, the Africa we want by 2063. Its mandate is to serve as a catalyst for rebuilding the global African family in the service of the development and integration agenda of their continent. This is where I feel that the AAU is walking the talk of helping CIDO implement this mandate. Because one of the responsibilities of the Diaspora Division under the Citizens and Diaspora Directorate is managing and coordinating other forms of interaction between the African Union and diaspora organizations worldwide. We can gain on the brain gain and not on the brain drain. We live in a world where ideas, services, and people circulate ever faster. We know for a fact that diaspora's contribution to development in both host countries and countries of origin is crucial. Diaspora bring new and sometimes scarce skills, innovative ideas, and energy to their new countries, which often are challenged by demographic or labor market problems. They also, statistically speaking, contribute positively to the labor, to the social security systems of these countries. All the same, they continue to support their countries of origin, not only through financial remittances, but also social remittances, such as knowledge transfer, social development, shared values, amongst others. All of which speaks to the theme and intended objective of this very important conference on how we manage the African academic diaspora relations in a fast evolving world. While the development potential of diaspora is beyond any doubt, the role of academic diasporas in realizing this potential has not received full attention. It deserves, according to academic diasporas and the associations can help build economic, cultural, social, and knowledge bridges between countries for the benefit of all. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, the Pan-African High-Level Conference on Education held in Nairobi in 2018 recognized that Africa's transformation requires increased and concerted efforts to move towards a knowledge-based society through progress in higher education with a particular focus on relevance and equitable access, strengthening research, teaching and learning in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Furthermore, higher education as a vector for the development of our societies plays a key role in achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development underpinned in the SDGs, as well as the African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Specifically, the Agenda 2063 affirms that Africa's human capital will be fully developed as its most precious resource through sustained investment in higher education, science, technology, research, and innovation. Access to postgraduate education will be expanded and strengthened to ensure world-class infrastructure for learning and research and support scientific reforms that underpin their transformation of their continent. This is bearing in mind the aspirations for an Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potential of its people on the continent and the sixth region that is the diaspora. The sixth region is the African diaspora, as well articulated by Professor Ihile in his speech. We believe that the brain gain of the African diaspora can help us consolidate the vision of Agenda 2063 when we speak of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa driven by its own competent and skilled citizens able to play in the global arena. Ladies and gentlemen, cognizant of the challenges education across Africa has been subjected to since independence, including low enrollment and access rates, the capacity to produce globally competitive graduates and research outputs consonant with the imperatives and dynamics of contemporary global knowledge, curricular stagnation, and the brain drain occasioned by the neoliberal onslaught of the 1980s, the African Union Commission developed a comprehensive 10-year continental education strategy for Africa for the period 2016 to 2025. We popularly call this strategy CSR 2016-25. The strategy designed to galvanize stakeholder support to be an effective change agent for the continent's sustainable development as a vision by the African Union Agenda 2063. The AAU is co-chair of the Higher Education Cluster of the Continental Education Strategy for Africa. And we believe that with the support of the African diaspora, higher education can come to where we expect it to be, moving with what is happening in the global arena. The Continental Education Strategy for Africa capitalizes on numerous and active players ready to mobilize financial, human, and technical resources within national, regional, and continental coalitions for education, science, and technology. Thus, the strategy seeks to provide each education stakeholder the opportunity to make its best contribution to education and training in Africa, and the African academic diaspora has a huge role to play in this mechanism. We do recognize that the African education sector is characterized by a high rate of transformation that has seen everything change at every level and in the higher education sector especially. Coming to terms with transformations require adjustment and restructuring at institutions of higher learning. The second dimension of the transformation is structural transformation. Africa in 2063 has to be completely different, democratic, integrated, prosperous, which calls for structural transformation and how universities can participate in that transformation process to bring about structural transformation. The kind of programs at African universities, teaching programs, vocational training, and others should be focused on delivering quality education and be relevant to the issues on Africa's agenda, particularly also looking at the question of the mismatch of skills. Meeting the current and emerging challenges facing Africa is a daunting goal, but this conference, with the impressive array of constituencies represented and the experience and wisdom each of you brings to this discussion, makes a path forward seem ever more possible to chart effectively. The African diaspora must emulate other successful diasporas that have contributed to the development of their homelands. An example is the Jewish diaspora and how they worked on behalf of Israel after 1948. But again, there is work to be done at the level of the continent, opening our doors, accepting diasporas to come in, and giving them co-creative places in the arena. We must, as a matter of urgency, establish a system to capture academic engagement of the diaspora outside the continent and how that knowledge can be harnessed by the universities in Africa for improvement and value addition to the continent's higher education sector. Initiatives to ensure this happens should be established and institutionalized as a way of internationalizing African institutions and knowledge more effectively. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the Act of Ivory Tower, I will conclude with the following two recommendations. The first is the need to build institution-to-institution alliances. Inclusive development must move beyond individual interventions. It must be systematic and institutionally located. It is important to reimagine the foundations of higher education and the roles that the diaspora can play. Current partnerships need to be broader than engagement between individual members of a diasporic community to become institution-to-institution alliances. Institutional partnership, for example, Fulbright fellowships, could be pursued and encouraged for the African continent. Dedicated program leaders, faculty members, and leadership within the university need to be innovative in identifying diaspora fellows who will be of most benefit to their institutions or programs. Inadequate publicity should be addressed through numerous low-cost ways of publicizing these partnerships. For example, using professional associations at local and international levels. The second recommendation is on strategic plans. A more strategic and longer-term plan suggestive of an approach where institutions can build partnerships with 5 or 10 universities in North America and Europe and 5 to 15 universities in Africa can form a 5-year strategic alliance. Such partnerships will see institutions commit resources and agree on joint appointments for a contractual period. This kind of alliance will create supervision capacity because there will be a structure and adequate planning in place. Deployment of financial resources within this alliance also will help grow the capacity for negotiating development assistance with universities in Europe, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, China, and other Asian countries. Joint appointments with institutions in these countries with their African counterparts will help to promote cross-cultural learning through the exchange of ideas, mobility of students, and mobility of teachers. Current diaspora initiatives in use now are very useful as they have assisted in research, curriculum development, and supervisory support, laboratory space. However, they are basically ameliorative. The fundamental foundation for building a viable university through engagement with the diaspora involves promoting substantive research, enhancing quality teaching, and having diaspora academics spend a significant time of at least 6 months in African universities. The esteemed participants, most too often on the continent, will discuss and deliberate without transforming our outcomes into practice. I sincerely urge that this conference follows a different path, that we should walk the talk and go beyond rhetorics. Africa is not plagued with the lack of frameworks that support this type of initiatives, but rather the will to implement. We should be guided by the wisdom of Mao Zedong that says, theory begins with practices, reaches theoretical level through practice, and then returns to practice. I therefore wish the participants of this conference every success in its future activities. We at the African Union Commission will be following closely the results of your work. I am confident that they will be seminal and will result in the identification of new, better approaches which can lead to the improvement of collaborative frameworks. I sincerely thank you all. Thank you, Aturoin, for giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You always deliver an exciting message and always focus on the Africa we want. We all have to focus on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Next up, we have found out that that the president of Ghana will not be able to join us. However, he has sent Dr. Ya-Ose Adewun, who is the Minister of Education, to bring us greetings on his behalf.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, so Honorable Dr. Osei would be speaking on behalf of the president. We'll be joining you in about a minute. All right, he's already here. Yeah. President of AAU, distinguished academics both in Africa and the diaspora, members of the diplomatic corps, development partners, invited participants, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on existing protocols duly established by this conference to welcome you all to the second African Academic Diaspora Homecoming Summit, holding virtually from today till Wednesday. I deem it a privilege to address this global audience of distinguished African academics to discuss such relevant themes which have exposed our fallibility in the face of current global occurrences. The challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and the rollout of the African Continental Free Trade Area, among others, have emphasized the urgency with which we need to recognize our own affairs to address them, reorganize our own affairs to address them. To quote the late President of Ghana, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the African is capable of managing his own affairs. Scattered we may be, but the Renaissance, after over 400 years, and the recognition of the diaspora as the sixth region of Africa by the African Union, has in recent times seen a huge pool of human resources back and contributing to the continent's development. Indeed, Africa can boast of some of the best brains in the world. Reference is made to Kismekia Corbett, who played a lead role in the development of the Moderna vaccine, and Dr. Joseph Nkolola of Harvard School of Public Health, who also played a key role in the development of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine against COVID-19. We really have the human resources to competitively position Africa on the global scene. The Continental Education Strategy for Africa emphasizes the need to revitalize and expand tertiary education, research, and innovation to address continental challenges and promote global competitiveness. Recent global challenges like pandemics and issues of climate change have exposed the weaknesses of our academic and research institutions. The Ebola outbreak and the very recent COVID-19 pandemic are emphasizing the urgency we need to attach to building the capacity of our research institutions to contain national, regional, continental, and global catastrophes. Currently, Africa's contribution to the world research output is abysmally insignificant, making us a net consumer of research outputs. Scaling up our research outcomes to address our local needs is a must-do for all academics, both in Africa and the diaspora. As you deliberate on the pertinent issues, on this pertinent issue, the world will be listening to your recommendations on issues including strengthening research agenda setting processes, strengthening the role of universities in the development and function of national and international innovation systems, strengthening and expanding technology development and commercialization, strengthening and expanding capacity for policy analysis in research and innovation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not an understatement that the skills of the African diaspora should be leveraged to offer vital capacity building and training around policy issues for the African Continental Free Trade Area. This is particularly relevant because of the current insufficient capacity on the continent to provide the training necessary for full comprehension and analysis of various aspects of the trade agreement. As African academics across the diaspora struggled with various disciplines, you possess diverse competencies that African countries can leverage to gain knowledge, crucial to ensuring the smooth implementation of the free trade agreement. The African Union, national governments, and institutions of higher learning in Africa have opened their arms to you to integrate with the continent towards pursuing our common purpose. The Africa we want. The Africa we want emphasizes an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. Aspiration 5 of the Agenda 2063 envisions an Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, shared values, and ethics. This calls for African cultural renaissance, which is preeminent and that inculcates the spirit of Pan-Africanism, the concept that promotes political, economic, and social cooperation and integration among all persons of African descent. Distinguished academics, ladies, and gentlemen, we can do more when we work together in a concerted effort towards achieving the goal of the African Union. And I'm happy to note that this conference, organized by the Association of African Universities, is geared towards pulling the best brains in Africa under one umbrella towards the Africa we want. On that positive note, I declare the African Academic Diaspora Homecoming 2021 duly open. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that message. The conference is now officially open. We do have two other guest speakers this morning before we break into our concurrent sessions. Our next, actually, I've been told that we are going to see a video. So why don't we go ahead and roll that video, and we will come back with our two final speakers of the morning.
The Association of African Universities, AAU, in collaboration with the African Union, the Government of Ghana, the African Diaspora Development Institute, and the Pan-African Heritage World, is inviting all educational stakeholders to the annual AAU Academic Diaspora Homecoming. The overall objective of the homecoming is to strengthen collaboration and partnership among research and educational institutions of higher learning in Africa and the African diaspora to advance quality of education and general well-being of all persons of African descent. The main theme for this year's African Academic Diaspora Virtual Homecoming is managing African academic diaspora relations in a fast-evolving world. The sub-themes are strengthening higher education management in Africa. 2. Positioning African academic and research institutions to manage global challenges. 3. Rollout of the African Continental Free Trade Area, implications for academia, private sector, diaspora and collaborations. And 4. Arts, culture, and our heritage, levers for building the Africa we want. The date is 27 to 29 September 2021. Time is 2 o'clock GMT, 8 o'clock EST, 7 o'clock CST. Kindly convert the time to your local time. The venue is the Virtual Association of African Universities e-Forum with the link of registration on your screen. Email us at namo@aau.org and secgen@aau.org. You can call or WhatsApp us +122 466 62706 +233 243 298 464 +233 208 152 735 +233 502 699 914 and +233 246 425 147. Other collaborating partners include the Global Institute for Planning and Sustainable Development, the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, the National Congress for Black Women, and the Historically Black Towns and Settlements Alliance, among others.
Thank you. So that gave you a little bit of a refresh about what the conference is about. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we were supposed to be joined by the Honorable Kojo Yankah. He has not been able to join us, but he has sent a representative in his stead. So we will be joined by Professor Pashington Obeng. Professor Obeng, can you please unmute? tech support, if you could provide some help with that.
Hello, Atrin. Prof. Passionton is not available now.
Okay. Thank you. So it appears that our final two speakers are not yet available, should be available shortly, because I've been told that one of them is online, that we're trying to get that person on. So why don't we take a brief 5-minute break, and if you would come back and join me again at 9 o'clock Eastern time, that would be 1 o'clock for those of you who are in Central Africa. So if you would just come back and join me in 5 minutes, and we should have our two final speakers on at that time. You don't have to leave the broadcast. You can simply, if you'd like, mute yourself and stop your video if you'd like. And we will pick up again in 5 minutes. Thank you.
The Association of African Universities, AAU, in collaboration with the African Union, the Government of Ghana, the African Diaspora Development Institute, and the Pan-African Heritage World, is inviting all educational stakeholders to the annual AAU Academic Diaspora Homecoming. The overall objective of the homecoming is to strengthen collaboration and partnership among research and educational institutions of higher learning in Africa and the African diaspora to advance quality of education and general well-being of all persons of African descent. The main theme for this year's African Academic Diaspora Virtual Homecoming is managing African academic diaspora relations in a fast-evolving world. The sub-themes are strengthening higher education management in Africa, 2. Positioning African academic and research institutions to manage global challenges, 3. Rollout of the African Continental Free Trade Area, implications for academia, private sector, diaspora and collaborations, and 4. Arts, culture and our heritage, levers for building the Africa we want. The date is 27 to 29 September 2021. Time is 2 o'clock GMT, 8 o'clock EST, 7 o'clock CST. Kindly convert the time to your local time. The venue is the Virtual Association of African Universities e-Forum with the link of registration on your screen. Email us at namo@aau.org and secgen@aau.org. You can call or WhatsApp us +122 466 62706 +233 243 298 464 +233 208 152 735 +233 502 699 914 and +233 246 425 147. Other collaborating partners include the Global Institute for Planning and Sustainable Development, the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, the National Congress for Black Women, and the Historically Black Towns and Settlements Alliance, among others.
Thank you all for giving us that time to work out some technical difficulties. We now have with us Professor Pashington Obeng. If you would please unmute your line. It appears that we may still be having some technical difficulties. Tech support, if you would just let me know as soon as Professor Obeng is available. In the meantime, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows how you can access the parallel sessions that will start momentarily.
Okay. Now I have been unmuted.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
It sounds like you may have more than one device going.
Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Now I am unmuted. Do you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry for all the confusion, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate in this conference and also to bring greetings from the Pan-African heritage world to which I belong. And so the first point that I want to make is that it is through the collaboration with AAU that we were able to hold our first Heritage World Museum Conference. And we thank you, AAU, and we thank AAU also for putting this important program together. So the conference that we held focused on continuing to find collaboration amongst academics represented at this forum by all of you, the media, social movement, and collaboration through technology, creativity, the youth. And then we also spent some time to discuss the importance of restitution, memory, and African remembrance. What we did during the conference was able to assemble people from Ghana, United Kingdom, Nigeria, US, Mexico, Brazil, South Africa, Somalia, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Australia, Rwanda, India, Trinidad, and Tobago. One of the reasons that we support the endeavor that has been put together today or beginning today is that it's very important for people of African descent to find ways of presenting and representing their stories that are embedded in and articulated in the lived experiences of Africans and African descendants from around the world. The importance of the role of academics cannot be overstated. Why? Because it's through their endeavors and then tuning in with other people that we'll be able to revisit Africa-centered creativity, ways of knowing, learning, doing, being, feeling. Why is this important? It is because for a long time, the roadmaps that have been provided us have been shaped by other people besides ourselves. And so the focus that the Pan-African heritage world has been following over the years is that how can we tell our story and be unapologetic about Africa-focused ways of knowing, teaching, and learning? One aspect that has meant a great deal to us is the emphasis on storytelling narrativity structure that pays attention to human feelings or emotions. And this is important because instead of dwelling too much on the mind as the head trip, we believe that continental Africa and people of African diaspora can contribute by showing that the senses are equally important in learning and teaching. How? We are now discovering how remembrance can come not through intellectual or brain activity alone, but embedded wisdom, bodily wisdom, performances, music, dance, drumming, and even finding ways of inscribing our experiences on our bodies and on trees. This is the place that we believe the Pan-African Heritage World Museum can contribute immensely. It can contribute immensely also because the museum that is being set up has a way of providing places that will memorialize the heroes and heroines of Africa. We also have a section devoted to herbal medicine, plant herbal medicine. This we consider important because it is when people visit such sites and become aware of the wealth of knowledge and medicinal powers that continental Africa, as well as Africa of the diaspora, can offer the world of medicine as a whole. That's where we will be able to tell the world that that's also part of it, of the contribution. Further, we have a section devoted to various dishes or cuisines from continental Africa and around the world, because there are some people that learn, teach through food. And so we believe that instead of doing the head trip all of the time, we should expose people to the various cuisines that have African-derived skills and techniques. Further, we will also have archives. We have libraries. We have places where people can visit as a way of reconnecting with other Africans on the continent and Africans of the diaspora. Now, the experiential aspects of the learning and teaching that we want to add to what is happening comes from the fact that for too long a time, our ways of knowing, imparting knowledge, have always been constructed in the strictures that have come from outside of continental Africa or the lived experiences of people of African descent. When we talk about the bodily memory or knowledge, this is where singing, dancing, the use of the body in articulating our own understanding of ourselves, as well as our stories, will come in. Further, as we do this, we do not want to limit ourselves to only continental Africans and people of African descent, but to the world all over. Why? Because knowledge production comes not just from within, but we believe that outsiders, in our encounter with them, can serve as whetstone in sharpening our own understanding of ourselves and how we are able to convey our experiences to the world. Experiential learning has been harped upon for a long time, but we have lived it in continental Africa, and I'm pretty sure that the world around is also experiencing or being exposed to that. So, in summary, the museum space that I hinted at will have a 6-story building in the shape of a horn that will contain galleries, offices, theater, archives, souvenir shop, conference rooms. The horn from Africa symbolizes messages that we too are prepared to send out there. Among the account, for instance, there is a saying that when the horn blows, it is only the outsider that may not understand the messages of the horn, and therefore, if there is a crisis, that outsider will not be able to participate in ways of offsetting or just forestalling what the mishap on the horizon would be. This is one of the reasons that the museum structure has taken on the shape of a horn. Also, we will have a house of sculptures where science, technology, architecture, sports, politics, arts, and other aspects of African and Afro-descendant practices are captured and curated. We also will have the kingdoms and queendoms, as I mentioned before. And I have also mentioned the herbal plant village, which will house over 10,000 species of herbal plants from across Africa and the world. We will have a place for festivities, entertainment, and meetings. This will be our contribution to the production, the distribution, and the ownership of knowledge. So we are grateful to be given the opportunity to participate in such an important event that has assembled academics from all over the world. Therefore, our contribution, to reiterate what I said, is for us to pay attention to embodied and embedded knowledge, the bodily knowledge that pays attention to both nonverbal and verbal forms of communication, written, and the inscribed ways not just to be colonized by the Western essay type of literacy, but forms of literacy that emanate from continental Africa. It is within that space that we'll be able to insert the dances, the gestures, the songs, the paintings, the greetings, and even notions of our traditional calendars. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful that eventually, regardless of the technical glitch, I have been able to share some few thoughts from the Pan-African heritage world. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Obeng. We appreciate your joining us and appreciate that message. So our final speaker this morning, before we go into our parallel sessions, is Dr. Arikana Chiambore Kwao. Dr. Kwao is the founder and president of ADDI, the African Diasporan. So now it's gone out of my head. The African Diasporan Development Institute. She's the founder and CEO and is joining us now, Her Excellency Dr. Arikana Chiambore Kwao.
Thank you, Ethrin. Thank you so much. I'll have to educate you again and teach you how, I have to come to DC and teach you how to say ADDI, African Diaspora Development Institute. You were having a senior moment there. You're too young for that.
I don't like
a very good morning.
But I also can't believe you deserted me and left DC.
You know I'm not too far. I'm only an hour flight away. It's so good to see you, my dear daughter. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are listening from. To the Secretary General of AAU, to the organizers, the leadership of the AAU, to my brother Maxwell Holt, and of course you, Ethrin, and many others who work so hard to make sure that AAU continues to be prominent and continues to be the voice for education throughout Africa. You have done such a tremendous job in the short period of time, certainly in my case, the time that you have been in the Americas. AAU North America has done tremendous work. AAU has spread like wildfire under the leadership of our brother Maxwell Holt right here in North America. I want to thank you all so very much for doing what you do. For at this moment in time, in the history of Africa, education is going to give us the rebirth of the African nation. It is through education that we were destroyed as a people. It is through education that our mindsets are where they are today. We have failed to heal ourselves from the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization, the systematic destruction of the Black mind. It all started with the miseducation of the African. Sadly, the miseducation of the African has continued. We have failed as institutions of higher learning to undo the miseducation of the African. Today, we continue to see colonial educational systems that were left by our colonial masters. We have prolonged them and continues to support them without going back to the way things were and speaking our truth. So today, this is a conversation about all of you educators, wherever you are. You have a responsibility to undo the damage. We have the responsibility to teach our children the truth and nothing but the truth. If we do not change our mindset as a people, if we do not begin to realize and understand the genesis of the brainwashing that the Black person has undergone, if we do not begin to understand how somehow our children, without being told that you're Black and you're inferior, they just know it. It's like through osmosis, they just know it. They're just born into a world that says you are inferior. It started with just some blatant lies. Lies that need to be undone. Lies, for example, that say there is a place called heaven where there are white angels. Lies that start with there's a place called hell and there's a black devil. And then they turn around and say, of course, you Black people, you're Black like the devil. And then our Caucasian friends, they say, we're white like the angels. Now, who has died and gone to heaven and seen white angels? Who has died and gone to hell and seen black devils? The criminalization of Blackness, the criminalization of our skin color was started by the missionaries. They came and lied to us. They used Christianity to brainwash us. To this day, I often stop when I'm giving my presentations and I will say, I'm going to ask all of you a question. And I want you to answer that question sincerely to yourself. And my question is, what color is the angel? And sometimes people will start laughing because they would have said white. Doesn't that make us all stupid? Isn't that the biggest lie ever? I call that lie number one. But why have we been unable to undo that lie? Why is it that you go to churches throughout Africa and you see images of white angels, images of white Jesus? Why have we been unable to undo this blatant lie that is so pivotal? It was used in such a systematic, subliminal way. It was used in such a systematic way that went right to the core of our subconscious. That it lurks there, where we just feel like we're kind of like the devil, that we can't be trusted, that I can't even trust the work that I do unless it's validated by my Caucasian brothers and sisters. It is a serious disease that we must understand because it's deep in our psyche. It is precisely the reason why we are unable to push back, stand up, and fight back against some serious abuses of the continent because of the fear of our Caucasian brothers and sisters. So we need to make sure that educators, as you stand in front of our children, you must speak the truth. Tell them what is being done to you. Let them understand that if we do not change the African mind, nothing is going to change. No degree from the highest institutions of higher learning can decolonize you. The question I have for all of you educators, why have you allowed these educational systems to continue? Why haven't you challenged the ministers of education across Africa to change the educational textbooks? Why do we still have colonial textbooks in our universities, in our high schools? What happened to our education, our history? Are you forgetting that we are the mothers and fathers of humanity? Have you forgotten, my fellow educators, that we are the Africans who taught humanity how to be civilized? We are the Africans where education began. We were there long before the Roman Empire. We were there long before the Greek civilizations. The reason the Greeks would send their students to Egypt for education is because in Egypt, that's Africa, it was already there. But we failed to teach our children that it started in Africa, it's gonna stay in Africa to perpetuity because Africa is where it all began. And Africa is where it's all at. I'm challenging all of you educators today. We're sick and tired of continuing this colonial education and you perpetrating the miseducation of the Africans. And you call yourself professors. Professors of what? Perpetuating conspiracies? That has got to change. And you educators today, we're counting on you to do the right thing. We're counting on the religious leaders as well to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. To take down the false image of a white Jesus in your churches across Africa. Jesus Christ was a brown man, and you all know it. The Bible says so. Hair like wool, crimson skin. When King Herod was after Jesus, Mary and David were told to run away. Where? They were told to go to Egypt. Why Egypt? Because in Egypt he would blend with others who look like him. It's all in the good book. The missionaries came to Africa and misrepresented the good book. So you religious leaders, it was religion that was used to destroy the African mind. We're counting on you to undo that damage. Take down those images of a white Jesus in Africa. Please stop it. You know better. And you educators, join hands with the religious leaders. You make a formidable team together. You could change Africa. We can begin to raise a generation of Africans who get it, who understand the importance of unity, who understand that we were systematically destroyed. The rule of divide and conquer must end, and it starts with education. The miseducation of the African must come to an end, and we're counting on all of you to do the right thing, educators. You have a tremendous responsibility. And it is a responsibility that you must chart a new way forward for our beloved continent. Our children, our youth, they're counting on us, their elders, to teach them the truth and nothing but the truth. They must grow up to be strong, powerful, and courageous and fierce young people who are ready to speak the truth and face the challenges of this world viciously, because Africa at this moment needs to be defended by any means necessary. And the best way to defend Africa is through education. And that's why this platform is so important. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to address you all. Thank you, AAU, for continuing to carry the torch of education to our children. The future of our Africa is bright. Fortunately, we have a limitless population that is ready to receive the truth, if only we can deliver it to them on a silver platter. That we have a commitment to do to our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. AAU, we stand with you as you carry this message forward. We are counting on you to deliver to us a new day in our African education. I thank you.
Thank you so much for that very inspirational message as we move forward and step into the conference. We will certainly be hearing more from Dr. Chiambori Kwao later in the conference, but thank you as always for inspiring us. So I am about to post in the chat. We are running a bit late for our concurrent sessions. I have just posted in the chat both the link that should get you directly there if you've already registered, but some people have been having a difficult time with that link. So I've also posted the Zoom registration links. If you have difficulty with the first link, please do go ahead and try using that, the individual registration links for the sessions that you want to join. And just to remind you, the sessions that we are going into now, we've got 4 parallel sessions. Strengthening Higher Education Management in Africa is session 1. Positioning African academic and research institutions to manage global challenges is session 2. Rollout of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, implications for academia, private sector, diasporan collaborations is session 3. And session 4 is arts, culture, and heritage, levers for building the Africa we want. So please select the session that you would like to attend and use one of the links that I have provided in order to be able to attend those sessions. And if you're in session 4, I will see you shortly. If not, we will see you back here tomorrow morning. So at the end of those sessions, we will not be coming back together again today. However, after those sessions, we will be joining again for a plenary session tomorrow morning, and we will have a second set of parallel sessions tomorrow. I keep saying in the morning, but the person from Australia reminded me that she's staying up really late. So it's night for her, and I know it's afternoon for many of you. But we will be back again tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we'll be wrapping up by hearing about the different sessions and what happened at those sessions. So please join the session of your choice. If you have any difficulty, please stay here, and one of our tech support people will help you to make that transition. Thank you, and we will see you again tomorrow morning as a group in one of your parallel sessions.
Event to be archived for future reference, then look no further than AAU Studios, because it's your best bet with our spacious studio and state-of-the-art media equipment such as 4K Panasonic video cameras, KinoFlow lights, assorted microphones, live streaming equipment, among others.
you are sure to get the best of productions. Visit us at Trinity Avenue, East Legon, adjacent the National Accreditation Board, or contact the AAU studios via the following email addresses: info@aau.org, AAUTV@aau.org, or ransford@aau.org. Alternatively, you can call us on +233 244 736280.
Good afternoon from Accra here. This is Enoch from AAU. Please be informed that this session has ended. You parallel sessions. To join the parallel sessions, you can go to the event website. The link was posted in the group, but then I will post that again. So when you are there, you go to parallel session for the one that is Monday, and then you click on the parallel session you wish to join. This meeting will be ended very soon.